If you're sensitive by nature, you are trying to navigate social circles to find your people, then you realize that there's a pattern that you left certain spaces feel more drained than fulfilled, and relationships are one-sided, and you keep abandoning yourself to make peace. There's a name for this pattern. It's called fawning. My name is Jingjing Liu. I grew up in an environment where emotional safety wasn't available. In most of my 20s, I was finding my way through life without even knowing that there was a name for it. And in my 30s, I finally was able to name it. When life is heavy, when my cup is empty, the pattern comes back. And the rewiring is a long process. I have learned a lot from my therapist and by also trying a lot of modalities. Here's what I learned along the way. Most of us wonder why we keep abandoning ourselves. Why can't we just say no? Why we leave certain situations and feel hollow? The answer isn't that we don't have enough willpower. It's actually in the nervous system. Think of a house that has a really sensitive fire alarm. They made it very sensitive to any hint of smoke. So it goes off when you light a candle. It goes off when you try to make a toast. Even if generally the house is safe now, the fire alarm is not adjusted. It's similar to your friendships, your community. You are genuinely in a safe space, but you're running with an old program where you are trying to detect danger all the time. Most people know there are 3 threat response: fight, flight, freeze. But there's a 4th one. It's called fawn. Therapist Pete Walker coined this term. And simply put, your nervous system responds to threat by appeasing others, by making yourself smaller, by putting others' needs higher than your own to keep yourself safe. Have you ever done something, you bought something, or you said yes to something, and moments later you realize, why did I do that? And it just happened like that. It happened really fast because your nervous system is faster than your conscious mind. Highly sensitive people are walking antennas. Most people pick up a few channels, but sensitive people pick up everything. So you notice when there's a subtle shift in someone's energy. You notice when there's tension underneath smile. You notice that there's unspoken expectation in the room. It genuinely is a gift. It makes you deeply perceptive. It makes you deeply empathetic. But when your nervous system learns that social threat is danger, and your scanning becomes exhausting, you are not just perceiving everything. You are scanning for threat all the time. And the moment your nervous system picks up a hint of rejection, it fires the nervous system and puts you into fawning mode, where you start to appease, accommodate, and smile, make other people comfortable. It normally happens really fast, before your body even notices what has just happened, before your conscious mind even know what happened. There are 2 types of wounds. The first one is surface level wound and hidden wound. When you have a surface level wound, it's easy to take care of because it's on the surface and you will pay more attention to it and you try to attend it, to get some air, to take some precautions, to take some actions to actively heal the wound. But when there are hidden wounds underneath surface level, it's hard to see, it's hard to know that you even have that wound, and let alone to know that you are suppressing it. So the unfolding process basically is trying to let those hidden level wounds to surface, to be seen, to get some air, eventually let the right people to see it, and eventually heal it. So that's the process of healing. Fawning is almost always a hidden wound. Why am I saying this? The symptoms, like people pleasing, appeasing, shrinking to make other people comfortable, those symptoms are all developed by series of painful events, not a single event, series of painful events, which are developed earlier in life or childhood, where your mind is telling you, based on those experiences, that my needs are too much. Love is conditional on my performance. Who I actually am isn't acceptable, and it's not safe to take up space. You need to develop a certain survival strategy to stay connected and avoid harm. And the reason that the wound stays hidden, because it doesn't feel like a wound. It's more like a personal trait. It's like a virtue. You as a person who are genuinely naturally caring, you're easygoing, and you're so good at reading the room. But over time, it creates exhaustion and resentment. Eventually, you don't know what you want anymore because you're so good at to fit yourself into other people's shoes, to know their needs rather than knowing your own. And then you are not in tune with your own needs. Whenever you consider yourself, it feels selfish, it feels wrong. Everything we've been talking so far are important, but this is where it gets personal. So fawning happens in very specific moments, and those moments are normally really familiar. Fawning normally happens in split seconds. It's really hard to catch it on your own if you have been fawning your whole life. Let me make this specific, because fawning doesn't look dramatic. It looks like this. Buying something that you didn't want, because not buying felt selfish. Nodding along something that didn't feel right, because disagreeing seems arrogant. Going to places that consistently drains you, because not going is deviating your path and abandoning your people. Smiling and saying it was profound when it actually was deeply wrong. Giving your time, your energy, your resources, not from a genuine desire, but from this quiet fear of what will happen to my belonging if I'm not giving. Leaving a place where you were supposed to heal, but you felt even worse than before you arrive. And you tell yourself you just need to do more work. None of this looks like trauma from outside. That looks like a very devoted person, a very spiritually matured person, a person that never complains, a very good character. That's what makes the fawning so invisible. You're not just giving your time, your energy, your resources to a community. You're giving away yourself piece by piece. Until one day you look up and wonder, when did I stop knowing what I want? Here's the part that nobody warned me about. The reason that you were fawning was to secure that belonging, to feel accepted. The thing is, if you are fawning, it actually pushes people away. Imagine this, you are trying to connect with someone through the glass wall. You can see each other, you can show your warmth, you can smile, and you can show your enthusiasm. But people from the other side of the glass wall doesn't necessarily can feel it, because they might have this sense of that something is off. They probably cannot name it themselves. The warmth is not landed and the connection is not landed. So you've tried really hard to create that warmth, to create that sense of belonging that landed nowhere. Fawning doesn't make people like you more. It makes people respect you less. Let that sink in. Because people can feel the inauthenticity. People feel that you're performing something rather than showing the real you, the real present of yourself. That makes it hard to connect. Now we have talked about what fawning is and what it looks like. in real life. I want to talk about what it costs you, because fawning is deeply affecting yourself. It affects what you believe you deserve. It affects how you show up in the world. So what am I about to say might trigger a lot of people, but please don't take offense. I wish I had known it sooner. I wish I would knew like what happened and what to work on, so I can feel more fulfilled. Not to waste so much time not feeling fulfilled. And I feel like a lot of people need to hear this. So what it costs internally. The first thing is your energy. If your energy is always running low, there's a reason for it. Because you're constantly monitoring other people's emotional state. You're adjusting yourself in real time to manage how you are perceived. And there's an enormous cognitive and emotional load constantly running in the background. There's this exhaustion. It's really hard to explain to other people because they don't understand why you're doing this. They don't understand what's going on. You constantly feel depleted, not out of introversion. It's because you're constantly working nonstop. The second cost is your sense of self. You've spent so many years to shape yourself around others. You started to lose who you are. Your preferences are uncertain. Your opinions are provisional. You're constantly second-guessing yourself because there's no solid ground to stand on to support yourself. The third one is your inner life. Say you have suppressed your needs and your feelings for so long that you have swallowed your anger, you have dismissed your disappointment around others, and your emotional range has narrowed. And there's this flatness, and it's not a depression, but your life just loses a certain texture. And the fourth one is creativity. And this one certainly affects me the most. You have very little energy left to be creative. Out of this fear being seen by others, putting genuine work into the world feels dangerous. It takes a toll on your physical body. So your nervous system is always under low-grade vigilance. And you feel tension, fatigue, and digestive issues, and difficulty sleeping. Your body never fully relaxes. This armor has a physical weight. So how does it affect your relationship? You've never fully known by people around you. They only see this curated version of yourself, always agreeable, always helpful, and non-threatening. But people who loves you, they're loving a partial picture. And there's this loneliness in the background. It's hard to name. There's part of you that remains unseen. The next one is you attract imbalanced dynamics. You always give generously and ask for very little. And others' needs always are dominant. Not because others are selfish, it's because you have established this routine, this habits, and the others are just following. The dynamic always shifts around the clearest center, and that's definitely not yours because yours are hidden and theirs wins. So you build resentment quietly. Underneath the warm surface, you have quietly built resentment due to the unmet needs. So you privately bitter around people who you publicly support. And that becomes a toxic relationship dynamic, and it affects your integrity. You can't receive properly. Compliments feels uncomfortable, and extra care feels suspicious. Praise exaggerates the unworthiness, and also deflect, you minimize, you immediately give back after receive. People who want to provide love, but you cannot let it in. choose based on safety, not compatibility. It's more important to feel safe than feel aligned. You probably miss out on people who are more suited, but they are more direct and more challenging, and you never get close enough to find out. So how does it affect how you show up in the world? The first one is you're likable but hard to know. So you basically take away the right of people fully knowing you, and they feel enjoyable be around you. They feel comfortable be around you, but they can't pin down who you are. They feel the warmth, but also the elusiveness. The next one about how you show up in the world is you are helpful to a fault. So you always show up for people with the cost of yourself. And people realize that they can count on you, but they never realize the cost because you never show them the cost. You are always agreeable on the surface, but turbulent underneath. So you always say yes, but underneath you're screaming no. You're smiling through all the discomfort and making sure that everything goes smooth while you're privately turning. So there's always this gap of presentation and the inner experience. The next one is you become invisible in groups. However, in one-on-one settings, you're completely present. When it's in group settings, you start to fade and the fawning intensifies. So your role becomes observe, support, and facilitate, while you rarely put yourself in the center of attention. The next one is so true for me in so many ways for so long. You're drawn to meaning, but you're so afraid to claim it. So you feel things deeply, and you think things seriously. You care ideas, truths, and growth. But you do not allow yourself to think that you are someone that matters. You do not think that you are someone who deserves to take up the space. So that depth almost always stays internal. I almost missed one there. This is a very important one. So you often get underestimated by others because you don't assert, you don't claim your space, you don't push your perspective forcefully. So people often don't see the full depths. And your intelligence, your insight, your creative vision are only get glimpsed. They are never seen fully because you never bring them all the way forward. So the conclusion is, I don't have everything figured out yet. I'm still in the journey, but I have done a lot of work where I can recognize all those things when I encounter it, rather than just a hidden wound. I have dig it up already. It's a painful process, but it's completely worth it. The reason that I started this channel is for me to hold myself accountable, to show up consistently, fighting my fawning response, to stop hiding myself, stop shrinking, stop caring other people's opinion about me. So it's a rewiring process, going against the current, as you say. The most important part is to going onto that journey of being true to myself and reveal the authentic self underneath. If all of this resonates with you, I've also made something that goes way deeper. It's a step-by-step guide how to stop fawning response. Thanks for listening.